Good morning. I'm Phil Marron from COO from SharpView Ophthalmology. Who is SharpView? SharpView is an organization that is commercializing an intraocular lens specifically for patients with AMD and cataract. So what's a cataract? Top left, you'll see vision with a cataract. Cataracts are one of the most common operations in the world, very, very treatable. But what is AMD? AMD is where your vision declines irreversibly over time. It's a macular disease, and currently there's no cure for it. SharpView is a joint venture between Syneos Health and Tree Hill Partners. We have some active directors in Ali, Max, and Mark, and the COO, and we have a country manager, Bernardo. So the market and the product. AMD is massive. If you look at AMD worldwide, it's the most common cause of irreversible blindness in adults over 60 years old. The prevalence is rising. Cataracts, again, we'll all get cataracts if we live long enough, but it is treatable. It's treatable with a standard IOL. So what is the IMAX Mono? The IMAX Mono, for all intents and purposes, looks like a standard IOL. And it acts like a standard IOL, but what it also does is it acts on the AMD. And uniquely, it's specifically designed to allow the brain to use the non-diseased part of the macula in order to create vision for the patient. And this is vision that lasts longer. The IMAX Mono does not have any impact on AMD because AMD is an irreversible disease, but it does allow the patient to see their family, to read, to have a better quality of life for a lot longer. How does it work? The IMAX Mono works by focusing the light at 10 degrees around the macula. So in the center, you see a little circle. If you have a cataract, you get given a standard IOL. That focuses the light to 5 degrees. When the macular disease has affected that area, then the vision goes. The IMAX Mono allows a 4 times larger area of the macula to be used, and the brain can then create a focal point, and it allows better vision. So this means that the IMAX Mono will act for a lot longer than the standard monofocal. So who's it for then? So the base mark of the IMAX Mono is at the top, the segment at the very top there. The IMAX Mono is for patients who've not yet had a cataract. So a patient will go to will notice they've got AMD, they'll go to a retinologist, and this is the patient for the IMAX Mono. If the patient's had a cataract, the IMAX Mono can't be used. However, if a patient has no cataract but AMD, we have more exciting results showing that the IMAX Mono is really for treating AMD. It's not a cataract lens, it's for treating AMD. In the middle, we've got the future of our product, and this is for an IMAX sulcus lens, more of which I'll mention later. So the IMAX Mono is CE marked in Europe. It's manufactured by Kerr Group in India. It's used around the EU, but we specifically picked Spain and Italy because they're early adopters in technology. The IMAX Mono has also been launched in ex-EU countries, Turkey, Argentina, and been used to far afield as Hong Kong and South Africa. We've initially focused, as we're a small team, on KOLs to generate peer-reviewed publications, to generate the interest, and high-profile ophthalmologists. But at the moment now, we're in the point where we need to sort of broaden our commercial reach. So what's the evidence? So we've got clinical experience. IMAX Mono has been used in thousands of eyes so far, and it's used regularly in dozens of clinics. We've got peer-reviewed publications of over 300 eyes, and more on the way, more publications coming on the way. And with new data that's been recently presented, as recently as 2 weeks ago, at the European Society for Cataract and Refractive Surgeons, we had 4 abstracts, but significant data on 170 eyes presented by Dr. Badalar. We've also got new clinical studies underway to prove the efficacy of the IMAX Mono when used in patients with AMD. And we've got another study in Italy looking at rehabilitation. So these are just some examples of some of the peer-reviewed studies we have at this moment in time, just to show that IMAX Mono is out there, it's being used, and it's being used successfully. 2 weeks ago, we attended a conference in Vienna, and there were 4 presentations around the IMAX Mono. The one of particular interest is by Dr. Federico Badalar of Milan in Italy, and he looked at 170 eyes. And on those 170 eyes, 56 eyes gained more than 2 lines of visual acuity, and over 3/4 of the eyes gained more than 1 line of visual acuity. There's no complications intra or post-operative because this is a standard cataract procedure to insert the IMAX mono. But it also gave positive results in patients with other macular conditions like macular hole, potentially AVD, which is a disease of the back of the eye. And significantly, the majority of these patients were patients who had very insignificant cataracts, just to show that the IMAX mono works on the AMD and is not working on the cataract itself or alone. These are the 2 clinical studies underway. Principal investigator Dr. Donati in Madrid, and that's a head-to-head with an IMAX mono compared to a standard IOL. Then this other study is by Professor Rizzo's team in Italy, and that's to evaluate whether or not helping a patient rehabilitate after increases the speed at which a patient makes use of the IMAX mono. So where are we going with this company? We need to invest in commercial reach. We need to expand our KOLs. We need to give ourselves a bigger footprint across European territories. And we'd like to employ product specialists to go out and support our distribution partners across Europe. Our big work is on patient access and reimbursement in all our key territories. Currently, we are going for NUBs in Germany, which is a reimbursement process, and we've got tenders which we've won in Italy. Then we need to invest outside the EU, where we've got to get local approval. We have a CE mark, but often they have their own registration requirements as well. And I think mainly to evaluate our path to FDA approval. Every week I get lots of inquiries from America asking me when will this lens be available. We need to invest to get that available to America. Investment in further indications. I've mentioned that we've used it in macular holes and in other maculopathies. So we've got doctors who are now wanting to run their own studies, looking at it in other indications. And we'll explore this collaboratively with them. And then finally, investment in the launch of a sulcus lens. Previously, I mentioned the IMAX mono can only be put in a patient who hasn't had a previous IOL. The sulcus lens is a lens that will sit in front of a standard IOL and allow the same IMAX mono vision, the same effect on the retina, enabling patients who've got a cataract, who've had an operation, will then be able to gain the benefit of greater vision for a longer time. And this, as you can imagine, is a huge marketplace because most patients who have a cataract in AMD will have had a standard IOL at first. So what do we want the investment for? We're a unique intraocular lens with absolutely no direct competition. There are other lenses that have an effect, but there's nothing that does what the IMAX mono does, which has allowed the patient to see better for longer. It's CE marked in Europe. It's available for use outside Europe, and we've got opportunities in other macular conditions. We have a very small, lean operational team in place. Part of the investment is to expand this team and have a more permanent, formalized structure. And we've got the product in clinics, and it's widely used. In the pipeline is the new indications that we're seeking. We're looking at detached retina. We're looking at AVD. We're looking at other maculopathies where the outside of the retina still has active areas where you can help the patient gain vision. And we've got the new product, which is the sulcus lens, and as I said, for patients who've had cataract surgery. It's already CE marked. We've already been doing some tests on it, and we're looking to potentially roll this out in the coming 12 months. We're looking for 8 to 10 million euros. We need to drive our commercial efforts. We're a small team. We need to put more footprint on the ground and a broader reach. We need to develop new indications and bring the lens to market. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.